Inter and Milan have produced some of the most iconic moments in football, and in April of 2005, arguably the most iconic photograph in football history was taken during a Champions League quarterfinal matchup between the two sides. But what is the full story behind this photograph? In 2005, Milan and Inter were two of the greatest football teams in the world. At the time, they had a combined 8 Champions League/European Cups, 30 Serie A titles, and 8 Coppa Italias. Each of the squads had star-studded lineups, filled with recognizable and in some cases iconic names in football. Milan had Andrea Pirlo, Dida, Paolo Maldini, future Ballon d'Or winner Kaká, Clarence Seedorf, and reigning Ballon d'Or winner Shevchenko. On the other side, Inter had Materazzi, Zanetti, Adriano, Vieri, Cambiaso, and Obafemi Martins. The two squads had numerous Italian stars, and when they came together to play on any stage, they created a spectacle. And with the two Italian giants playing out of the exact same stadium, the San Siro, it's expected that the sides had one of the fiercest rivalries in all of football. So after Milan defeated Manchester United 2-0 on aggregate in the round of 16, and Inter defeated Porto 4-2 on aggregate, people knew that the upcoming tie in the quarterfinals would be a dogfight. In the first match, Milan was the home side and won 2-0, off of 2 goals from set pieces, the goal scorers being Shevchenko and Stam. A key piece of the final score is that Inter did not score any away goals, since at the time, the tiebreaker for aggregate scores was whichever side scored more away goals. So, Inter needed to win the second leg by 3 goals to advance to the semifinals. The second leg was played 6 days after the first leg, on April 12, 2005. 30 minutes into the match, Shevchenko tallied to give Milan the 3-0 lead on aggregate. For Inter to advance, they would now have to score 4 unanswered goals. But that Shevchenko goal was not where the chaos began. Of course, the frustration of the Inter fans was certainly understandable, but it boiled over after a controversial officiating decision went against them. Esteban Cambiaso's goal was disallowed midway through the second half, the referee saying that a foul occurred in the build-up to his goal. And that was the tipping point. Fans started throwing every object they could onto the pitch, including flares, which created complete chaos. In the 73rd minute, one of these flares hit Milan goalkeeper Dida directly, which required treatment for first-degree burns on his right shoulder. The fans didn't obey the Inter players' pleas for them to stop, and so Marcus Merck, the head referee for the match, suspended the contest to wait for the fans' chaos to calm. The players returned to the pitch 25 minutes later, but to no avail, the chaos did not quell at all. Thus, the match was abandoned. But in the midst of all the chaos, Milan midfielder Rui Costa was standing near the middle of the pitch. Inter defender Marco Materazzi stood next to him and placed his elbow on the shoulder of Rui Costa. Taken by Stefano Reladini, the photograph shows a stark contrast. In the background, complete chaos. And in the foreground, the unexpected peacefulness of two enemies seemingly relaxed by each other's side. That image reminds me that football is not just fighting between supporters. It's not just money. It's not just business. I know that players from different teams are friends. They all eat together at restaurants and spend free time together. When I look at that picture, I'm reminded that football is the most beautiful game in the world. Materazzi didn't have the best reputation. He was a really hard player and would win at all costs, which we would all see later at the 2006 World Cup. Rui Costa was more of an artist, more gentle. The way he played football was poetic. So the first thing I thought was, wow, how strange. Here are 2 different players from 2 different teams, with 2 completely different footballing styles, stood next to each other as friends. After the match was abandoned, Milan were awarded a 3-0 victory, advancing them to the semifinals. Inter were fined a little over €190,000, and for their next 6 European matches, had to play with no fans in the stadium. Milan manager Carlo Ancelotti said, "What happened will not just discredit Inter, but all of the city." The reaction of the Inter fans was completely unexpected. I was really surprised because I've never seen something like that in all of the Milan derbies that I have taken part in. Now we have to refocus on football so that people can calm down after this disgraceful episode. However, the chaos was a sign of things to come for Italian football, as in just a year's time, the Calciopoli scandal broke, and some could argue that Italian football has never fully recovered.